My name is Lila Hassan. I'm 38 years old. I manage a mid-sized property portfolio in Houston, mostly senior housing and assisted living facilities. And on a quiet Sunday afternoon, my father sat at the head of his dining table, looked straight at my daughter, and said she would never inherit a single dollar from him, not because she did anything wrong, but because, in his words, she isn't blood. My daughter Amira was holding a glass of orange juice. She froze mid-sip, didn't cry, didn't speak. She just looked at me, and in that moment I understood something my father didn't. He thought he had control. He thought his will was power. What he forgot was where he was sitting. He was sitting in a retirement home, one that I owned. Fully, I didn't argue with him that day. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't correct him in front of the room. I simply placed my napkin on the table, stood up, and told Amira, "We're leaving." By Tuesday morning, I had made one phone call, and by the end of that week, my father called me 22 times. Not once did he mention Amira's name. Before I take you further into this, take a second to like and subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from now. Let me take you back to that Sunday. It started like any other. Amira woke up at 7:12 a.m. I remember the time because she came into my room holding her stuffed rabbit and whispered, "Mom, is today the lunch?" She'd been asking all week. "Yes, sweetheart, today's the lunch," she smiled, that small, careful smile she does when she's over trying to be excited without getting her hopes too high. She picked her own outfit. Light blue dress, white shoes with a tiny scuff on the left toe. She refused to let me replace them. "They still work," she said. I let it go. I always let small things go with her. By 9:30, I was in the kitchen packing a dessert tray, baklava. Homemade, $36 worth of ingredients in 3 hours the night before. Not because my father liked it, but because Amira did. She liked the way the syrup stuck to her fingers. She liked licking the edges. She liked feeling included. That mattered more to me than anything else. My husband Kareem was ironing his shirt by the window. He didn't ask questions. He knew my family. He just looked at me once and said, "We don't stay if it gets weird." I nodded. We had that agreement, unspoken, but always there. We left the house at exactly 10:18 a.m. Amira sat in the back seat quietly humming to herself. Not loud. Never loud. She learned early how to take up less space than she deserved. That thought sat heavy in my chest as we drove. The closer we got to my father's place, the quieter the car felt. His house sat at the edge of a private community, gated, landscaped, carefully maintained. I should know I approved the landscaping budget myself. That was the part he liked to ignore. We pulled in at 10:47. My brother's car was already there early. He's never early. That was the first thing that felt off. A small thing. But enough. Amira reached for my hand as we walked up the driveway. "Will Grandpa be nice today?" she asked. I paused half a second. "Maybe less." Yes, I said, and I hated myself a little for saying it. The door opened before we knocked. My mother stood there. Same perfume, same soft smile, same way of pretending everything was fine. She hugged me, then looked down at Amira. "Hello," she said. "Not, come here." Not a hug, just hello. Amira smiled anyway. She always does. We stepped inside. Everything looked the same, but something felt arranged. Too neat, too prepared. Like a meeting, not a lunch. And that's when I saw it on the coffee table. A folder, thick cream-colored, labeled in bold print, "Estate Planning. Final revision." My name wasn't on it, but I knew this day wasn't about food. It was about something else. Something deliberate, something planned, and I was already too late to stop it. I didn't touch the folder. I didn't ask about it either. I just noticed it and kept walking. That's something my job taught me early. You don't react to information the moment you see it. You store it. You wait. You let people reveal what they think you don't understand. The dining table was already set, 12 plates, 12, but only 8 of us were there. My father sat at the head like always, white shirt, sleeves rolled halfway. His serious posture. the one he used when he wanted control of the room. My brother Samir was to his right. Scrolling his phone, didn't stand. Didn't greet us. His wife Nadia gave me a tight smile. Polite measured Amira stayed close to me. Always just half a step behind, I set the baklava on the counter. My mother walked over. "Oh, you didn't have to bring anything," she said, but she didn't touch the tray, didn't uncover it, just left it there, like decoration. "Where should I put this?" I asked. Anywhere is fine. Anywhere is never fine in that house. So I placed it exactly in the center. Aligned with the edge, the way my father likes things, he noticed. Of course he did. He always notices order, just not people. Lunch started at 11:32. I remember because I checked my watch when the silence got too long. Conversations were selective. My father spoke mostly to my brother, business numbers, investments. Things Amira couldn't understand. Things I understood very well, but wasn't included in. At one point, Amira leaned toward me and whispered, "Can I have water?" I poured it for her before she could take a sip. My father spoke, "Let's address something before we go any further." His tone shifted the room like someone dimmed the lights. No one interrupted him. No one ever does. He reached for the folder, opened it, slow, deliberate. "I finalized my will this week." No surprise there. He'd been hinting at it for months, but then he continued, "And I want there to be no confusion later." That word confusion, he uses it when he's about to say something cruel. In a calm voice, he looked directly at me. Then, slightly past me, toward Amira, "Only direct blood descendants will inherit from me." Silence. No one moved, no forks, no glasses, nothing. And that means he added, "My estate will go to Samir's children." Not Amira. He didn't say her name. Not once. Amira's fingers tightened around her glass. She didn't cry. She just looked at me, waiting, trying to understand something no child should have to process. I felt Kareem's knee press slightly against mine under the table. A signal, we leave now, but I didn't move yet. Not immediately. Because I wanted one thing. Just one. I looked at my mother. She was staring at her plate, hands folded, silent again. That told me everything. I turned back to my father. I didn't raise my voice, didn't argue, didn't defend. I just said quietly, "Thank you for being clear." That caught him off guard just slightly. He expected resistance, emotion. Maybe even a scene. I gave him none of that. I stood up slowly, took Amira's hand. She slid off her chair without a word. Kareem stood with us. We didn't rush, didn't slam chairs, didn't make noise. Control is louder when it's quiet. As we reached the door, my father spoke again. "You should understand, Layla. This is about legacy." I paused. Just for a second, without turning around, I said, "So is this." And then we left. The drive home was quiet. Too quiet. Amira sat in the back staring out the window. At 12:18 p.m. she finally asked, "Mom, does that mean I'm not part of the family?" Kareem's grip tightened on the steering wheel. He didn't speak. He let me answer. I turned slightly in my seat. "Amira," I said softly, "look at me." She did. "You are my daughter. That makes you family, always." But Grandpa said, "I know what he said." I kept my voice steady. "That's about him, not you." She thought about that slowly, carefully, the way she always does. "So, he's wrong." "Yes," I said, "he's wrong." She nodded. Just once, then leaned her head against the window again. Conversation over. But not really. Not for me. Not even close. We got home at 12:42. Amira went straight to her room. Kareem closed the front door behind us and leaned against it. "Well," he said quietly, "that was worse than expected." I nodded, then walked past him, straight to my office. No hesitation, no delay. I opened my laptop, entered a folder I hadn't touched in over 3 years, Greenwood Holdings Private. Inside it, one file mattered, purchase agreement. Riverside Senior Living Facility, signed, paid in full. Owner Layla Hassan. Date March 14th. 3 years ago, the place my father had proudly told everyone he secured for his retirement. The place he told his friends he invested wisely in the place he believed was his? I scrolled further. Lease agreement tenant Mahmoud Hassan. Term lifetime residency under preferred family rate. Clause 7, I read it again. Slowly, in the event of ownership discretion, the property, the right to revise or terminate residency agreements under standard review conditions. Standard legal clean. I leaned back in my chair, not angry, not shaking. Just clear. Kareem stepped into the doorway. You're not going to react emotionally, are you? I shook my head. No. What are you going to do? I closed the laptop halfway, then looked at him. I'm going to respond properly. He nodded once. That was enough. At 9:07 p.m. that night my phone rang. My father, I let it ring. Then again. 7 missed calls in under 10 minutes. Not one message. Not one apology. At 9:21 my mother called. I answered, Lila, honey. Did you say her name? I asked. Silence. I'm asking you something simple. I continued. During lunch, did you say Amira's name even once? You know what I meant. No, I said calmly. I'm asking what you said, not what you meant. Another silence. You're making this difficult, she whispered. No, I replied. I'm making it clear. She exhaled. Your father didn't mean to hurt anyone. He said exactly what he meant. He's just traditional. My daughter is 8. That landed hard. She didn't respond. I'm not angry. I added, I understand what happened. Then don't do anything drastic, she said quickly. Interesting choice of words. Don't do anything that told me she knew something, or at least suspected. I won't, I said. And I meant it. I wasn't going to do anything emotional. I was going to do something precise. Good, she said, relieved. We'll fix this as a family. I didn't answer that good night, Mom. I hung up. Monday morning, 8:03 a.m. I was at my desk before anyone else. Coffee untouched, inbox open. I typed one email. Subject review of residency agreement. Unit 12A to legal department body. Please prepare a formal review notice regarding the current residency status of Unit 12AI. Want all clauses evaluated for compliance and flexibility under ownership rights. Priority high. I stared at the screen for a moment, then hit send. No anger, no hesitation, just process. At 8:11 a.m., I received a reply. Understood, draft will be ready by end of day. I leaned back in my chair. Outside my office window, the facility grounds looked exactly the same, calm, orderly, peaceful. Just like my father liked things. He thought control came from decisions made at a table. He forgot. Real control is written down, filed, signed, and enforced quietly.